Hello, this is Cathy Cassidy and I'm here again for Sunday Book Club. And it's the end of November and starting to get quite Christmassy. We're kind of edging a little bit out of lockdown in England and into tears. Not literally, I hope. While of course Ireland and Northern Ireland and Scotland and France remain in strict restrictions. And where I live in Wales, we are waiting to hear about new restrictions which are going to be brought in next week. So we are definitely living in crazy times. But hopefully the chapters of Angel Cake that I've been reading on weekdays over the last few weeks will offer you a little bit of lockdown escapism. And next week's chapters are definitely going to get Christmassy, so be warned. Shout outs today to the wonderful crew who have been sharing my links to the Angel Cake chapters and helping to spread the word, which really, really matters and really helps. And I just think if you can do that, it's just a small thing maybe, but if one person can find access to those chapters and it kind of brightens up their day, then that's worth it 100%. So to all the people who are sharing and helping to spread the word, and that includes Anne and Anna, Joe, Sheila, Eliane, Doreen, Sharon and Sarah, Earl and Tony, Martin, Stephanie, Rebecca, Francis, Faye, Kiki, Bracken, Ben, Ali, Dawn, Barbara, Kirsty, Mr. Rick and more. So thank you so much. It really, really makes a difference and I so appreciate it. It's just such a kind thing to do. Last week, I kind of asked why you thought people became bullies, because someone had asked me and I thought it would be quite interesting to get your input and views on that. So we had a few different answers which all had a little bit in common. Sophie said, I don't know much about bullies, but I think people who bully probably have a lot of their own problems going on. And perhaps they're going to great lengths to get any kind of attention, even the negative kind. I wouldn't want to call them bad people, even if it feels easier to do so. And that is I think that's quite wise and quite astute. I think bullying behaviour is not good. It's clearly bad, but to call the person bad, that's a different thing. I think Sophie has definitely hit the nail on the head with that. Francesca also had a few things to say about bullying. She said, I think there are different types of bullying and two types of motivation that stand out for me. One, people in positions of power who bully others because they can. And two, people who feel they have no real power and resort to bullying in order to feel powerful. And so in a school situation where kids have no real power, they might resort to bullying to actually feel that they have a little bit of control over something. Perhaps those people are being bullied or abused in some way at home, or going through a difficult situation, maybe a family split or a bereavement, which makes them feel powerless because they've got no control over it. And some people may bully others just to show that they don't want or need friends. Perhaps they're frightened that they can't have friends and they're kind of lashing out. Some bullies, those who bully those who are a little bit different, might be hiding the fact that they themselves don't feel as though they fit in. And some bullies, of course, do what they do just to get laughs or approval from others. And Francesca says, I am really looking forward to the redemption of Lily Caldwell. I remember her sweet smile in the cafe. So thank you, Francesca. Some really, really great thoughts there. And yeah, I'm going to just keep you all hanging and guessing, will Lily Caldwell redeem herself or not? We'll have to see. We've definitely seen some really horrible behaviour from her this week. But yeah, never say never. Nathini also had some views on bullies, and she said, I think often bullies have been bullied themselves at some point, or have stress or other problems going on at home or at school, and they're deflecting their anger by bullying other people. Nathini also asked why Lily Caldwell in particular was a bully. And of course, that would be giving the game away completely. So no spoilers, but I have a short story that I've written about Lily's story, which I hope to read you after the chapter readings are over. And that story, I think, will explain a lot of where Lily is coming from. But you're going to see a lot more from Lily before Angel Cake chapters are done. And yeah, like most of us, she is a mixture of good and bad personality traits. So we'll have to see which side of her wins out. Yeah, I would maybe recommend anybody who is struggling with dealing with bullying themselves, have a look at my book, Letters to Cathy. Maybe pop that onto your Christmas list. It's not a story, but it does have a lot of growing up advice. It has chapters on how to deal with bullies, also on self-confidence, and bullies are less likely, I think, to spend much time on you if you have a very resilient sense of self-esteem and self-confidence. So that book, Letters to Cathy, is definitely a possibility for anybody who might want to attack it from a more fact-based kind of area. So we'll see. Francesca and Doreen also mentioned in their comments that they liked that pre-dawn picnic scene in the park, which was included in chapter 12 of Angel Cake. And actually, I wanted to tell you, this scene was inspired by a friend of my daughter's, a girl called Rachel, a lovely but rebellious girl who went to the park in her slippers when she was 13 in her local semi-rural area. And I kind of wouldn't advise, don't do this at home, okay? But I remember Rachel coming and saying to me, you've got to put it in a book. It was great. Put it in a book. And I loved the idea of her sneaking out and going to the park, and she played on the swings and slides and roundabouts all by herself, I think, in the middle of the night for no particular reason. And yeah, that idea stuck in my head, and it did find its way into the next book that I was writing at the time. So yeah, sometimes ideas can come fully served up on a plate to you like that. Hope you're still doing okay, Rachel, and yeah, not sneaking out in your slippers at night. So we've got some more hellos, and they are to Lena in Morocco, to Samia in Tunisia, I think, and to 11-year-old Zaino in Turkey, who has been reading Driftwood and mentioned to her mum she wondered if Paul perhaps had a crush on Kit. And for anyone who's read the book, Kit is Hannah's big brother. So I actually thought that Zaino's comment or question was quite astute and thoughtful. And I wonder what other readers who have read Driftwood might think about that. I'll maybe keep you guessing for now, but I love it when a reader finds the whole layer of meaning in a story. Yeah, that maybe isn't spelled out in big capital letters. There are lots of hidden meanings and lots of layers in all of my stories, really. So this week, it was kind of a no-brainer who was going to get this fantastic badge, this week's Certified Amazing Human Being Award, which, if you remember from previous weeks, the badge comes from achyshakyart on Etsy, and I just thought it would be nice to send one out every week in the run-up to Christmas, because we're all struggling a little bit. So this week's badge goes to a girl called Shannon. She's a girl I've met a couple of times over the years at book signings, but she's grown up now and at university. Shannon has just this week gone lost a very close relative to COVID-19. And the grief has hit her, understandably, very, very hard. She can't go home for the funeral. And also, Shannon has made the decision that she can't go home for Christmas because she doesn't want to put her vulnerable family members at risk. Shannon wrote, "I am feeling isolated in student accommodation, away from my family, and cannot even turn to my best friend as she is struggling too. Turning to your YouTube channel is lifting my heart just a little, and rewatching your videos is helping where nothing else really is. I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate your books. I'm a lot older now, but feel I have never outgrown the Cathy Cassidy magic. When I become an English teacher after completing my PGCE, I will be recommending all your books to the library at whichever school I work at." Well, that, yeah, you can imagine my eyes went all misty, and I just really, really felt for Shannon. And, you know, when she's feeling so rotten and so bad, that she actually reached out and said something as lovely as that to me, that was just fab. It totally made my week. So she's hands down the winner of the badge this week. My heart goes out to Shannon for everything that she is going through right now, and to all of those people who are struggling for whatever reason it might be during this pandemic. Shannon thoroughly deserves the badge, and I really admire her determination to keep her family safe. So today I thought I would add a couple of Christmas book recommendations to the Sunday Book Club, and I'll keep doing that over the next couple of weeks. But the very first of those is an unusual and fascinating book called Yesterday's Diary. Okay, and way back in March or April, I was asked if I would lead a creative writing competition for people living in my old hometown of Coventry. And the idea was to try and encourage people to get writing again, whether it's poetry or fiction or prose or whatever, to help distract them from that first lockdown and from the fear that the whole pandemic thing was kind of creating for all of us. And I did that, and we had hundreds of entries from people of all ages, literally from preschoolers to the elderly, from all kinds of backgrounds and all areas of Coventry and the environs and suburbs around. There was so much talent, and it was, you know, we gathered these together. It was my job to choose which pieces would be included, and we knew that we wanted to make a book from the entries. So choosing which ones were going to go in the book was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But I hope it is a really good cross-section of Coventry, and a cross-section of how people have felt about lockdown. So whether you're in Coventry or whether you're somewhere else completely, I actually think you might really enjoy this, because the poetry and the fiction, it covers everything. It's a moving and really powerful record of Coventry in lockdown. And if anybody wanted to buy a copy of this book, it's actually £9.99 plus postage, which I think amounts to about £3, because it's quite a heavy book, even though it's a paperback. And you can buy it from the Sitting Rooms of Culture Facebook page. But anybody who wants to get hold of it and can't seem to work out how to do that, if you send me a message or leave me a comment on this, I can put you in touch with the people who will be able to pass a copy of the book on to you. So the last recommendation is an unexpected treasure, and I absolutely love it when this happens. This is the book that I wanted to recommend to you. It's by Hazel Pryor, and it's called Away with the Penguins. Now, I know that I've told you before that I am pretty much an obsessive reader. I read a huge amount. Even if I've got a very busy day coming up, I will deliberately set an alarm early so I still get some reading time in. I can't help it. And sometimes the books, you know, I read books that I've deliberately sought out, books that I particularly wanted to read. And sometimes I read what I call easy throwaway books. And I think when I picked up Away with the Penguins, I kind of imagined it would be, you know, a nice wintry story, good thing to read at this kind of time of year, but not necessarily something I would want to keep. Well, not only do I want to keep this book, I also want to gift it to lots of my friends. And yeah, it's going to be a hard book to dislodge from my memory. I think really I want to recommend it very thoroughly to everybody. It's clever and thought-provoking and heartwarming. It's the story of how life can make somebody cold and icy, but also how life can thaw that frosty shell and create new connections and opportunities and friendships. It's a really lovely, wintry, feel-good read. All this and penguins too. So I think the best way, I don't want to give anything away, but the best way to describe it, if anyone watching has read the book Eleanor Oliphant is Perfectly Fine, then you would probably enjoy this too. So many layers and so many lovely uplifting bits of story, and that 100% is what we need right now. So I will be back next week with more ideas for Christmas present books. So yeah, if you have an idea of something that should be getting a mention or that people should know more about, please do comment below on the Sunday Book Club YouTube channel, and I'll try and share your recommendations as well. But once again, thank you to everybody who asked a question. I'm still saving some questions up for later editions of the Sunday Book Club. Everyone who chipped in with ideas on what makes somebody a bully, and just everybody, of course, who shares and likes and comments and spreads the word, because I just think you're all awesome, and I really want to thank you for that. I hope that all of you will stay safe until I can see you on next week's Sunday Book Club. Don't forget to tune in for your daily chapter of Angel Cake, and until then, keep smiling. Take care.